Welcome once again to Let's Play Langrisser 2 until the war is through. And on to Scenario 5, Roar of the Beast. The damage done at the Temple of Light was far worse than expected. If the Imperial forces were to attack again, the temple would not be able to protect Liana. Furthermore, Morgan was about to escape to the nearby village and was expected to kill everyone there out of spite. Elwin and his party gave chase to Morgan, joined by Cherie and Liana, who elected to participate in battle as a healer. Yay! Our conditions for victory? Gotta wipe up all the enemies within 22 turns. Sounds like a lot, you'd be surprised how fast it can go. Alternatively, we just have to get Elwin to the top of the map within that same time span. We're defeated if we exceed the time limit or Elwin falls. And with that, we're ready to begin our preparations. The shop began offering nothing worthwhile. Then again, we really don't have much going for us right now, do we? So I guess I'll go ahead and pick up a couple things. As far as equipment, I want to raise that magic defense now that we're fighting magic users. It's actually going to be important. And I believe the rope is going to be 10 extra magic resistance. Might not seem like a lot, but if it's going off of 10% damage, that means their spells are basically just going to do 1 HP. At this point, we're not facing anything too terrible. The most I might have is a thunder, and I don't even think we're going to see that in action until the next scenario, if I'm remembering right. Definitely want her to have that great sword. She naturally has a high attack, and that will continue throughout the course of this. She also tends to lend high attack value to her troops. Not so much at the early stage, but again, she's just level 1, and I made her a Lord, which is more of a defensive class. But just wait, she's going to be ripping up the floor in no time, right alongside Elwin. In my limited experience with this game, it seems that Cherie, and I have decided I will call her Cherie instead of Cherie, but I think it can go either way. In my experience with this, she always tends to have some of the highest attack. Hein, on the other hand, well, he's very versatile, and he's very adaptable. You can do a lot with him. You can turn him into a close range melee fighter. Pardon me, melee. But I think he's really intended to be a magic user. But you have options, and that's with most of the characters here. They did a good job of offering you a variety of paths without losing the logic, let me just say. Most of the path choices here make sense for the characters, some more than others, but overall they did a fantastic job there, while at the same time not restricting you. So we had a quick look at the enemies there. You saw we had some wolfmen, who we'll talk about in a second. Morgan is on the run. See if we can catch up to him. It's not going to be easy. Wanted to make sure I didn't talk over that soundbite. And with that, we are ready to go. Again, Soldier playing here. Just such a catchy track. I never get tired of listening to this. So, our movement is limited in the beginning. We have to cross a little bit of water. There's some rocks inhibiting us as well. All done intentionally, I'm sure. Cherie care? Nah, Cherie don't care. You know what? I'm probably going to go back and forth all the time with her. Oh well. I want to get Liana in the mix as soon as I can, because in this game, thankfully, your healers will get experience for healing, even if it's just 1 HP. That was one of the biggest problems I had with Warsong. It made it so hard to level up your priest classes. So, don't have that problem here. And they get a good amount too. And it does scale, so you'll get a little bit if you heal a couple of people for 1 HP, but if you heal a large group, you're going to get that much more experience. It escalates quite quickly. So if you were really desperate to gain levels quickly and advance your class, something I'm not going to do in this walkthrough, not even off screen, but something that you could do, I guess I should say off camera, but one thing that you could do if you'd like to is position your characters in such a way that enemies with magic will continue to spam their magic attacks on your group, taking you down, and on your turn you just heal that up. And all you have to do is keep your MP up so you can continue to heal. Make sure your characters are strong enough to where they're not going to be taken out after a wave of enemy attacks. And you can just keep rinsing, and repeating that ad infinitum as long as you like. Again, I haven't actually done it myself, but just knowing the way the game works, there's no reason why you wouldn't be able to abuse that. So, yeah, with that, you'd actually be able to change somebody's class within the same battle quite easily. They just have to have some sort of a healing ability. And the good thing is, even characters who are not known for their curative arts, you know, you got somebody like a Serpent Knight or a Dragon Knight, most classes in this game will learn at least some sort of a healing ability. Or I really should say most characters. Every character is capable. Because again, you're going along extensive branching paths, and maybe one or two of those classes don't have healing, but somewhere along the line, if you take them along the right course, they will get something eventually. Even if it's just force heal, that still counts as healing as long as somebody's being brought back up. So just something to keep in mind for yourselves, because again, I am recording this with the full intention and hope that someone out there who has not played this before will begin a game of their own at some point before, during, or after this playthrough. Because this is a really good game. You don't need me to tell you that though. And I'd like you guys to experience it for yourselves. I'm more than happy to show it off to you, and I thank you for all your support this far, but I don't want this to be the end of it for you. And on that note, thanks for joining me again. It's a lot of fun being able to share this with you guys. And somebody who's not having any fun is that general who is ignoring his orders and is tagging along behind Morgan because he does not want to die. And honestly, I really can't blame him. Who wants to die, you know? It's the finality of it is the thing. There's really no going back. But he signed up for the wrong side, sadly, so it's a high likelihood to happen. These pikemen, believe it or not, are very strong against the wolfmen, so that's why I brought a bunch of them. I didn't realize this the first time, but they do count in terms of the advantage and disadvantage umbrella as a type of mounted or horseman unit. Don't ask me why, but they do. So pikes are very strong against them. So we're gonna have fun here. And if you look at their sprites, those wolfmen, not too terrifying, right? I mean, did you see the wolfmen in Warsong? Those things looked pretty menacing, right? I mean, they looked pretty savage. These things, I mean, what are they supposed to be? They're like Teddy Ruxpin's inbred cousins or something. For those of you who are old enough to actually remember Teddy Ruxpin, I'm barely able to remember because when Teddy Ruxpin was a thing, I was super small. In fact, one of my earliest memories is of being sick and being stuck home very, very young. Very, very young. And just watching some Teddy Ruxpin videos that somebody had gave us. Yeah. But I think it was one of those things like he read books to you, or you read along with him, something like that. Very, very vague, but I do have faint recollections of it. But for some reason, that's what they remind me of. Something like Teddy Ruxpin or the Care Bears. Just, they don't look like wolves, basically, is what I'm really getting at. But yeah, they look too cute and cuddly. I mean, I don't even see any claws. Where are your claws, guys? Oh, he's definitely got any now. 1 HP with 1 attack. Cherie. You can hold back anytime, it's okay. Remember, you have nothing to prove. We know you're powerful. But you ain't seen nothing yet. No, she is somebody who has access to a variety of interesting, and in some cases almost, no, I can't call them broken. They're not broken, but they're very powerful classes. And it's actually difficult in this game sometimes, if you know what's ahead, to decide what to turn someone into. She has 2 options for her final class that are very appealing to me, and I've already decided well in advance of this LP what I'm going to do with everybody. It was kind of necessary at this point because I don't want to sit there twiddling my thumbs for minutes on end trying to decide, oh, but if I do this, or if I do that, you know. All the same, it was very difficult to decide with her because there's huge pluses and minuses, well, not even minuses, there's huge pluses to whatever route you decide to take her down. So it really just comes down to a matter of personal preference. Now what makes it a problem for me is, again, I want to show off this game to you guys. And as much as I would love everybody who sees this to play this for themselves, being realistic, there's a good chance that that may not happen. And if it does not happen, there's a lot that you may not see. So with that in mind, I want to select the choices that I think, if you can't see anything else, this is the class that is worth showing off. That's the approach that I'm going with it. But you know, if I'm so inclined, and I just might be, what I could do is just show off some of the alternative choices briefly as a bonus video at the end of all this. Something similar to what I did with my Warsong Langrisser 1 LP. Yeah, I think I may go that route. All it requires me playing a side playthrough on the side of this one, just keeping up with the game, and then maybe making some save states. Again, this is on an emulator because this game was never officially released in English. Yeah, have some save states so I can try different classes for each character, to whom it applies, because a lot of the classes across different generals is repetitive. You have a bunch of people who can become Dragon Knights, surprisingly. You have a bunch of people who can become priests, swordsmen, so on and so forth. So yeah, I think I'll just try to limit it to the classes that are unique. I'm gonna actually, there's some other things I can do with the bonus video, make it more interesting, but it's way too early to be talking about that sort of thing, right? So I'm gonna try to spare you guys. I'm gonna try to avoid the nebulous talk. I don't want to keep bringing up stuff that you're not gonna see until well down the road. So I apologize for the times that I do that. It's completely unintentional, really. Like, I know in the last scenario I was talking about some items that we got, the secret items. Didn't really go into what they do. Now, that might not even bother you guys, but I could see it being a little bit annoying. So I will try to avoid that in the future. I might just briefly describe an item we pick up, even if we can't do anything with it, just so you know what it does, so you're not wondering, well, what does it do? And then by the time we can actually use it, you're not even thinking about it at that point. You're like, oh, that thing? Oh, okay, well. The angel wing primarily is what I'm thinking about when I say that. So I'm just going to come out and say it. One of the classes in this game is Summoner. The Summoners are able to, that's right, summon beings. Very helpful beings. Possibly even deities, but whatever they are, we can bring them into the battle, and they act as a mercenary. They get the same benefits as our mercenaries do, but their base stats tend to be very, very high, and they come with magic most times, or special land affinities. So I want to make at least one character a summoner. I've already decided who that character is going to be, and I may make a second summoner. There is one character who I haven't decided completely what class I'm going to take them to, but this is somebody that we get well into the game, so I have plenty of time to decide. Nowhere near there yet. So, but once we have a summoner, they'll be able to equip special items, one of those being the angel wing, that will allow them to summon a unique character. So with an angel wing, you probably can make an educated guess as to what type of being we will be able to conjure up with it. And music shift can only mean one thing, an ambush. Yeah, Morgan, he's got his surprises. And he's calling upon a bloodbath. It's not gonna happen. Not on our side, at least. And apologies, I've barely talked about the actual battle going on here, so I'm going to shift to that in just a bit, but very quickly. Summoners are useful because they also come with a base summon that they can use. So even if you don't have any items on them that allow them to bring up additional creatures, they still have at least one in their pocket at all times. And that is the elemental. Not the same as the one from the original, but it is an elemental. And there's no limit to how many they can bring up. Well, at least how many they have access to. So if you have 3 items on you that allow you to summon up something different, you can summon 4 different creatures in the same battle, because 3 from the item and then the base elemental that you always have access to. And that's pretty much all I have to say about that right now. Just something to look forward to. They're a very fun class. And they have a very powerful attack as a commander too. attacks fast, attacks first. So, can't wait for that. In the meantime, here's my strategy for this battle and the one that I recommend. Now, one thing about this game that makes it more interesting, adds a lot of replay value, depending on what classes you decide to make your characters, it's going to greatly alter your strategies in each scenario. Because their movement is going to be different, their affinities are going to be different, what they're weak against, all this is going to change, their troop types, so you have to keep this in mind. So if you're playing with a similar setup as what I have here, in other words, if Elwin, it's really critical what you've made Elwin and Hein, since they're going to be there the whole way from the beginning. Now if you made Elwin a knight as I have here, you're going to want to just move him forward and fast as far as you can, because he is the only character who is going to be able to catch up to Morgan. And again, if you're thinking really far ahead, you could have had the swift boots on him before he promoted, so he would have additional movement. Again, as a knight, he can't actually equip swift boots, otherwise I would do that to give him that extra edge on the grass, but he still has good movement as a knight naturally, so it'll be okay. But we have to keep moving every turn just about, or we will never catch Morgan. And if he gets to the end, he will retreat off the map and all of his men, which means we're going to lose out on a bunch of experience that would have helped. And I'm not looking to do that. As much as I can in this walkthrough, which essentially means every time, because again, I want this to be 100% showing you everything that you can do to the fullest. I don't want to leave anything out in the open. You know, what if? Is it possible to do this? Is it possible to catch him? Yes, it is. And we're going to do that. Hein here is unfortunately stuck on wolf duty, but he has pikes, so he'll be okay. Just have to keep him surrounded so they don't target him, because again, his defense is still unimpressive at this point. And I say that he's right in front of a wolfman, but they'll likely target his men first instead anyway. Or they won't target anybody. A funny thing about the AI in Langrisser 2, it's very helpful to determine what troop types are strong against what troops, because if they don't attack you on their turn and they're at full health, but they'll surround you or get right up in your face, it's a strong indication that whoever you're using are naturally strong or have some slight advantage against them. Because it means they'll either get utterly decimated, or even if not that, they stand a chance to suffer equal or heavier losses than you, so they won't even initiate. And the first time I played, I didn't even bring pikes into this battle because I figured they wouldn't be strong against anything here really. Otherwise I would have found out that way. Oh, okay, they have an advantage here. Yeah. And, ooh, against pikes and out of range, they didn't stand a chance. Feast on their bones, so he says. Yeah, lots of enemies here. So this is going to be a long one, the longest scenario we've had so far by a mile. And there's a good chance we haven't even seen the last of them. So they have well-balanced forces here, which is something you have to keep in mind when forming your group. They've got soldiers and pikes, so our horsemen are in danger. It's another reason we want to keep moving forward, because the farther north we go, the fewer spears we see. Have you noticed that? So we want to keep doing that. Yeah, the game's way of saying, wow, you're doing good. How'd you get this far? By not stopping, basically. That's all you can do. We just got to keep trucking along. And anyone we can attack along the way to weaken them is good. These dark elves, archers, are very dangerous because of their range, so they're our top priority. His horsemen are probably more or less equal to ours, so I'm not going to bother with them just yet, unless I can't attack anything else, because we're going to suffer equal losses, I'm thinking, most likely. And I want to keep Elwin's men alive as long as I can. We're going to lose them along the way, it's inevitable. There's just too many enemies. I don't have time to recover the way I would like to, because Morgan's not going to stop. But again, it's all about what you've decided up along this route, up to this point. Now, if you had made Elwin a magic using class, and he had some offensive spells at this point, what you could do is give him the swift boots, keep moving forward as before. If you manage to catch up to Morgan in time or get close enough, cast a spell, you'll damage him in his group. If you knock him down to 7, you know he's not going to run on his next turn. So that's a good way to catch up to him too. I think that'll work out really well actually, so that's something that you might want to consider. Yeah. Keep in mind again that spell damage is affected by your current level. You want to be level 5 or above to get the maximum damage from your magic. So if you're level 5 as Elwin's class before you attack him with spells, even better. Otherwise you're just going to chip him for 1 HP probably. And again, you can always give somebody else the boots and send them up behind Elwin as backup. Hein would have been a good candidate, a great candidate even. But again, he has pikes. He's one of the few that do at this point, so with so many wolves on this map, we wanted him to help out. You'll notice they have a very minuscule 14 defense before the boost, but they do have a decent attack, so that's the only thing that you have to watch out for with them. As you can see though, they present next to no problem for our pikes. And Liana is somebody that I would love to get closer to Elwin in this group to keep them alive, but at the same time I have to be mindful of who's around her. She is surprisingly durable, despite her lack of tough looking clothing, but all the same I don't want to be careless with her. Close, Scott, close. Not bad. And she's about to prove to us just how well she can fight. Or her men at least, and they did it without the bonus, so that's great. Again, benefiting from the fact that the werewolves have naturally low defense. She's already level 6, just joined the team officially and learned protection. That is the opposite of the attack spell. It's going to boost the group's defense by around 3 or so. Though again, I'm not sure, maybe as your levels increase, the potency of those support spells does as well. Something I haven't taken the time out to actually look at, so we'll figure it out before the end of this playthrough for sure. We've got plenty of time. This is a much longer game than Warsong. That capped out at 20 scenarios. I don't want to spoil anything, but this is longer. We'd be disappointed if it wasn't, right? A lot of bang for the buck that we never got to spend. Thank you guys. We're not going to get into that again though. Better now than not at all. That's all I have to say, really. One scratch isn't too bad. They were in the trees. One thing you have to watch out for with the wolves, they excel in the forested areas. Their attack and defense goes up tremendously, so they will be tougher to take out in situations like this. We will take more hits in those moments, but as long as we have the strength advantage or the numbers advantage, it'll work out well in the end. And our turn is going to be up in just a bit. This will be a great time to end the video, guys. Thanks again for watching, following along. Please join me for the next installment though, where we continue scenario 5. Have a wonderful day, take care, and hopefully Elwin and the gang will see you soon.